Welcome back, dear students, for today's session. In this session, let us start with the 16th question, continuation of the level 1. So, the question as follows: read the following statements and find out the incorrect statement. The four statements have been given, dear students, out of which one of the statement is incorrect. We need to identify that. The first statement which is given is setae are present in all body segments except first, last and clitellum. Nephridia are present in all body segments except first two segments of the body. The third is intestine is present only in the post-clitellar segments rather. Then the last option we have is the epidermis of the earthworm is made up of a single layer of columnar epithelial cells. Dear students, firstly let us discuss here that the setae are the bristle-like structures, hair-like structures, bristle or hair-like structures, which are in fact present in all except the first segment and last segment. To go with that, first and last segment it is absent, and also in the clitellar region, clitellar region where the production takes place. Except these three regions, first segment, the last segment and clitella, the setae are present in all the segments. Okay, so that's true statement. Next, nephridia. See, when we are talking about nephridia, they are excretory organs, which can be present in the earthworm, or excretory structures we can say, isn't it, dear students? So now let me tell you firstly here, nephridia are present in all body segments. They are generally absent in the first segment and the second segment. Yes, this statement is also correct. The excretory structures which eliminate the nitrogenous waste of the earthworm, that is the urea and other excretory waste outside the body, are nephridia, and they are absent in first and second segment but present in all the segments of the body. That's the correct statement. Let us move on to the third statement. See, third statement, they are talking about the intestine, which is a part of the alimentary canal. Intestine is a part of digestive system, or alimentary canal of earthworm. It's a part of digestive system, dear students. Now here let me tell you that intestine is present only in the post-clitellar segments. No, they are saying that it is present only in the post-clitellar. That means after the clitellar segments which are present, only there it is present, they are saying. But actually, if I want to tell you that, first of all, intestine is a very long structure. Again, a point, it is thin-walled structure, thin-walled digestive structure, which is rather tube-like, they are long, thin-walled, tube-like, and they generally, these intestines generally extend from the 15th segment till last segment. Part of the clitoris also they can be present. So except the last segment, you leave, see, 15 till the last segment. Here you have to leave out one important structure, that is the anus. Apart from this, in all these segments you can find the intestine, dear students. Okay, so here the given statement is that only present in post-clitellar segments, which is wrong. So we have to collect the incorrect statement. We have to see the wrong statement. The third is the wrong statement here. Third itself is the answer, but anyway we will also go for learning fourth point which is given here. The epidermis of earthworm is made up of columnar epithelial cells. That's a true statement. Yes, it is made up of column-like cells called as columnar epithelial cells, which are elongated like this, these cells, and they have the basement membrane, and the cells are column-like, fine, and they also have a nucleus at any one of the sides generally, fine. So anyway, that's a correct one. Columnar epithelium cells can be seen in the epithelial cells of the earthworm. So the given answer here we have to go is for the third option. Dear students, moving on to the next question, we have recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. The figure is given here is of the circulatory system or the vascular system of the earthworm. So they have given A, B, C. We need to identify what A is, what B is, and what C is. Options given are anterior lobes, lateral hearts, lateral esophageal hearts, anterior lobes, lateral hearts, lateral esophageal hearts, anterior lobes, lateral hearts, and lateral esophageal hearts. And the last option is anterior lobes, lateral hearts, and lateral esophageal hearts. Okay. See, they are given this diagram here. Roughly, I will just represent what are the structures which is been given here. Okay. See. Alright, the diagram is like this. Okay. Here in this diagram, see, most probably let us say somewhere in 7th and 9th segment, let us say for example, they have given here the blood vessel which is passing from that, two hearts are arising here, 7th segment and the 9th segment. Alright, in the one is 7th segment, one is 9th segment. So, and they have marked it as what? A, right? So, this is nothing but the lateral hearts. What are these? Lateral hearts, dear students. Alright. So, lateral hearts are present in the 7th segment and the 9th segments. Alright. So, what is their role? These lateral hearts role is to convey, alright, blood from dorsal blood vessels. Alright. They conduct blood vessels from the dorsal blood vessel. Alright. Till, alright, or they pass to the ventral blood vessel. Are you getting my point? See, two lateral hearts can be present. Okay, the given option here, A, they have marked no 7th, 9th segment. What we are finding here are lateral hearts here. Alright, dear students. So, their role is they help in transportation of blood from the dorsal blood vessel to the ventral blood vessel. Okay, second structure what they have marked here, okay, is probably, see here, B. Alright, so somewhere we can find it here. Alright, in the B, that is B is what here anterior lobes they have marked. Alright, see somewhere in the 12th and 13th segment you can, in the 11th and 10th and 11th segment you can find here. Alright, alright, so this is around 10th and 11th segment what you are finding here, they have given it as B. So, you can see in the 10th and 11th segment it is been given. So, they are nothing but anterior lobes, dear students. Anterior lobes. Alright. So, here, so, okay, they are present in the 10th and 11th segment. So, these anterior lobes help in, alright, connecting supraesophageal, alright, supraesophageal, alright, blood vessel or vessel to the lateral esophageal blood vessel, to the lateral esophageal vessel. Are you following my point, children? That is the role. So, they are anterior lobes. So, B is anterior lobe, dear students. Then, the last they have given C is, okay, lateral esophageal hearts. Rather, in the 12th and 13th segment, see here, okay, see in the 12th segment and the 13th segment, rather roughly represented here, 12th and 13th segment, what you are able to find here is, alright, the lateral esophageal hearts. These are nothing but lateral esophageal hearts. So, what is the role of these lateral esophageal hearts? Let me tell you. Alright, they are present firstly in 12th and 13th segment, that's one point, and they convey blood from, alright, they convey blood or transport blood from the dorsal blood vessel, alright, dorsal blood vessel to the ventral blood vessel, alright, and also convey the blood to esophageal blood vessel also. Alright, they also convey the blood to, alright, they also convey the blood to esophageal blood vessel. Alright, that's the role. But the given here, alright, C they have given it as. What they have given it as here? C. So, the given C is nothing but lateral esophageal hearts. Among the given options, Alright, if you see A is anterior lobes, A is lateral hearts, B is anterior lobes, and C is lateral esophageal hearts. So please go for the option 4. So the next question we have, dear students, here is that read the following statements and find out the incorrect statement about earthworm. The given options are: the alimentary canal is a straight tube and runs between first and the last segments of the body. Fine. Second statement: the nervous system is basically represented by ganglia arranged segment wise on the ventral paired nerve cord. Third statement which is given is: blood glands produce blood cells and hemoglobin which is dissolved in the blood plasma. Fourth option is: the cerebral ganglia along with other nerves in the ring integrate motor input as well as command muscular responses of the body. Alright, so this is the question which is been given here, dear students. So now let us try to understand each one of the statement. The first statement which is given is what? The alimentary canal is a straight tube like structure. Yes, the first statement is true, which runs from first segment. Alimentary canal runs from the first segment till the last segment. That's the correct statement. Alright, second statement which is given here is that the nervous system is basically represented by ganglia. Alright, yes, cluster of nerves, alright, are called as ganglia here, dear students. Alright, so we can find in the nervous system the cluster of nerves. That's absolutely right. Okay, then dear students, we have, alright, the arrangement of ganglia, alright, segment wise on ventral paired nerve cord. That's also correct. Alright, on the ventral nerve cord these ganglia are arranged. Alright, they are arranged on the ventral nerve cord. We have discussed this in the chapter, okay, which is done in the previous classes. Then the third option we have here is about the blood glands. Alright, so blood glands, what they are giving here, produce blood cells and hemoglobin which is dissolved in blood plasma. Yes, these blood glands are part of blood vascular system or circulatory system of the earthworm. Vascular or circulatory system of earthworm, dear students. Alright, circulatory system of, alright, earthworm. Let me tell you that these blood glands are present in the fourth, alright, fifth, and also they are present in the sixth segment. They produce, alright, the blood cells which I have already told you. These blood cells are nothing but the phagocytes, alright, which help in providing immunity. They digest they engulf the microorganisms and provide immunity. And of course hemoglobin is also produced from the blood glands. Alright, this hemoglobin, dear students, when we are considering, is dissolved or liquefied in the plasma. Alright, it is dissolved in the plasma. That's the correct statement. Third statement is also correct. Then, dear students, the last statement we have here is the cerebral ganglia along with, alright, they are giving a question on cerebral ganglia. So here let me tell you that the cerebral ganglia, what they have given, along with other nerves in the ring, integrate motor input. They are giving that along with the other nerves, they integrate motor unit, right, or motor input. That's one aspect. As well as they also help in, okay, commanding muscular responses. Alright, in commanding muscular responses. That's the statement which is given, dear students, here. Alright, now let me tell you that cerebral ganglia along with the other nerves in the ring, of course, integrate not motor input, alright, sensory input. This is the wrong statement which is given. This is not motor input. It helps in sensory input. Sensors, it helps in bringing about the sensors in the earthworm. Alright, So that statement you have to remember, but it of course brings about the muscular responses but not the motor input. It brings about what? The sensory input. So now if you consider all the four options, first statement is correct, second statement is also correct dear students, third is also correct. In fourth, all right, see the cerebral ganglia, it integrates with the nerve ring and brings about sensory responses, all right, sensory responses but not the motor input. So the fourth given option is wrong, all right, fourth is wrong, so that is the correct answer. Please go for option 4. The next question we have here is match the columns 1 and 2 and choose the correct combinations from the options given. See, two columns have been given dear students. In the column 1 they have given different structures of the digestive system, that is gizzard, intestine, stomach, buccal cavity, esophagus and pharynx. In the column 2 they have given in which segments those column 1 organs are present. Okay, now here firstly let me tell you the gizzard, all right, is a structure, muscular structure. It is a muscular structure which can be present from the 8th to 9th segment, all right, and its role already we know, it helps in grinding of the soil particles and decaying leaves, all right. Secondly we have intestine, all right. So here when we consider the intestine, all right, intestine is present in from the 15th segment till the last segment except anus, okay, except anus, yes. So 15th to last segment rather is a part of the intestine, that's absolutely true, okay. Then thirdly we have stomach here, it is also muscular organ, all right, stomach, which rather can be seen from 9th to 14th segment. See, in the 9th segment the gizzard ends, after the gizzard ends the stomach starts and extended till the 14th segment, all right. Most of the important digestive processes occur in the muscular organ called stomach. Gastric juices are released, all right, HCl is released, all right. Major digestion occurs in stomach as well. Then fourth dear students, they have given as buccal cavity, all right. See, buccal cavity is present in the first to third segment, all right. The mouth, from the mouth it starts until the third segment it is extended, all right. After buccal cavity pharynx is seen anyway, so we will discuss that. So first to third segment you can find the buccal cavity. Then E, they have given esophagus dear students, all right. So esophagus we can find from the segment, all right, 5th to 7th, all right. So this is a tubular structure which helps in the passage of food from the buccal cavity after some digestion there, and later it passes to the esophagus, right. And finally they have given as F, which is mentioned here as pharynx. So pharynx is present from the segment, okay, only in the segment 4, all right. So these are few important segments which we can find. Among the given options, the correct answer is 2, all right. You please go for answer 2, all right. So in order if you go, all right, first mouth comes, then buccal cavity, then pharynx, followed by pharynx we have the esophagus. After esophagus gizzard is present, then stomach is present, then the last part, that is the intestine. Dear students, the next question we have here is, a nephridium starts out as a funnel that collects excess fluid from. 4 options have been given: intestinal lumen, body wall, coelomic chamber and calciferous glands. Okay, first of all let me tell you that nephridium, all right, is a part of is a excretory structure. What it is? Excretory structure which can be present with respect to the earthworm, dear students, all right. Now this is the first point you need to remember, and furthermore let me tell you, it is given here in the question as a nephridium starts out as a funnel. Yes, it is starting as a funnel, all right. So that funnel we call it to as nephrostome, we call that to as nephrostome. and this starts as a funnel called nephrostome, and this attaches to this funnel is nephrostome, which attaches itself to the tubular part of the nephridium. It is attached to the tubular part of nephridium, dear students. So that's one point. And yes, this nephrostome, the funnel like structure, the opening of the nephridium helps in gathering. See, this nephrostome, the funnel of the nephridium, helps in gathering transporting all waste, transporting all the waste, through the body pores, to the surface of the body. There are pores so to the surface of the body it transfers, dear students. Not body pores, through some of the pores which are present in the nephridium. From the pore it transports itself to the surface of the body. So that's about the nephrostome. Yes, the given first statement, the second 20th question here is nephridium starts with a funnel that collects excess fluid from. It collects the excess fluid from coelomic chamber, dear students. Coelomic chamber, that you remember. So it's very important. It produces coelomic fluid here. It has the fluid is present in the coelomic chamber. So excessive fluid is collected from the coelomic chamber, which also has waste, and transported to the body surface. That's the one. So please go for option here 3. Option 3 is the right answer. Let us move on to the next question. The next question we have here is, in earthworm, accessory glands are present in which of the pair they are representing here? First option given is 1 pair each in the 17th and 19th segment, 2 pairs each in 17th and 19th segments. Then the third option we have here is 1 pair each in the 10th and 11th segments. Then the fourth option is 2 pairs each in the 12th and 13th segments. First of all, let me tell you what is the role of accessory glands. See, accessory glands help in binding the worms during copulation. Binding the worms during copulation or sexual intercourse, or rather we can say copulation also as what? The sexual activity when it is occurring. 2 worms have to come together. So that the accessory glands help in. And accessory glands are present, dear students. There are 2 pairs of accessory glands. 2 pairs we can find. Where we can find the 2 pairs? In the 17th and 19th segment. 17th and 19th segment. Let me repeat. Accessory glands help in binding the womb during the sexual activity or copulation or sexual intercourse. And accessory glands are present in 2 pairs, present in the 17th and the 19th segment. So among the given options, you have to go for the right answer, that is option 2. The next question we have here is, in earthworm, fertilization and development occurs within. See, first of all, dear students, let us understand what do we mean by fertilization. See, fertilization is the process. It involves the steps, where the fusion of male gamete with the female gamete takes place. Fusion of male gamete with female gamete occurs. So in various steps, those all complete process is called as what, dear students? Fertilization. See, for example, there is a male gamete, so it fuses with the egg to form the zygote, isn't it? Correct. This you need to remember, dear students. So fine. So the question asked here is, where does fertilization and also development? There will be small worms. These small worms have to become turn into adults later. So the development should occur. So where does, in which part of the body or which structure of the body it is occurring is the question here. The given first statement is cocoon. Alright. Now let me tell you, or egg case also we can refer this to as, okay, rather, so where we can find that, the clitellum, the third option which is given, alright. So clitellum which is present in the 14th, 15th and 16th segment of the earthworm, and which is a glandular structure, alright, helps in the formation or secretion of the egg case or helps in the formation of cocoons, alright. So it does not occur in the second option they have given as soil. No, fertilization development never occurs in the soil in case of earthworm. So second option you have to eliminate, it is not the option at all. And clitellum helps in the formation of the cocoons, alright. So that's the structure, glandular structure it is. So that cannot be the option because it itself is helping in the secretion of cocoons, alright. Then fourth option which is given is spermathecae, dear students. Fourth option which is mentioned here is what? Spermathecae. So let me tell you that these spermathecae are the part of the female reproductive system, alright. Female reproductive system. So what we need to understand here is that these spermathecae, in case of female reproductive system, they receive and store spermatozoa or the fully developed sperms, alright. So that's one important aspect you need to remember, dear students, alright. Of what they receive, the sperms or spermatozoa of other animal or other earthworm, rather we can say it to as, correct. So that's what, spermathecae cannot be the option. So it is not helping in fertilization and development. So fourth option is also not the one. The answer is the first one, that is the cocoon. So please go for option 1. Dear students, 23rd question we have is fill in the blanks. The cocoon holds worm embryos. Yes, indeed, cocoon helps, it's the site for fertilization. In fact, inside its fertilization also occurs and also the embryo develops. Okay, that's the correct point. Okay, fine. The cocoon holds the worm embryos. After about, they have given A dash weeks. I mean, in how many weeks each cocoon produces how many worms you should write. And baby worms with an average of how many worms it produces you should write in B, So and average, if you take overall average, how much will be the minimum or average we need to write here, okay, in the C. Fine. So let me first tell you that, dear students, when we are considering the cocoon, alright, it is the structure which is helping in the in fact where inside it fertilization and embryo development will occur, alright. So it is secreted by, alright, it is secreted or formed by a structure called as clitellum, and we also know that clitellum is present in the 14th, 15th and 16th segment, alright. So through the clitellum, cocoon will be formed, alright, inside which, as I said you, fertilization and embryo development is occurring. The baby worms will form rather inside the cocoon. Fine. Then, dear students, fine. After about dash weeks, here they have given A as dash weeks. See, after about 3 weeks, first you should write 3 weeks, alright. There is production of B. They have what, each cocoon produces how many worms they have given. So it may be 2 or it may be up till 20 also. Some worms will produce even up till 20 baby worms as well. With an average of, in C, how much will be the average? Average of 4 worms. Alright, dear students. So average is 4. Alright. Minimum of 4 worms it will produce. Alright. Most of the time. Alright. So please go for the option 3. That is your right answer. Next question we have here is recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. They have given the figure, dear students, and marked it as the labelings A, B, C, D, E. We need to identify those, alright, among the given options. The given options, we have the 4 options. Out of these options, we need to identify. So when we see the diagram, okay, fine. See, just let me talk here about the diagram. See, in the A part, firstly, what they have marked is the intestinal cecum. What is that? Intestinal cecum. All right. So rather, see, intestinal cecum, rather from 26th segment it arises. All right. 26th segment it arises. All right. Fine. Then B. When you look at the B, it is typhlozoal, dear students. Typhlozoal. All right. So we know that it helps in increasing the surface area for absorption. So it increases the surface area of absorption. So second part which is marked here is which one? We have the typhlozoal. We have the typhlozoal. So dear students, see now intestinal part or whether it is typhlozoal, what the and all the options which are given are here with respect to digestive system, dear students. Okay. So as I said, intestinal cecum arises from the 26th segment. All right. So and we have the typhlozoal. All right. Just below the intestinal segment, there are other structures much below 29, 30, 31, all these regions. All right, we can find the typhlozoal which increases the surface area for absorption. So B is typhlozoal. Then C. All right, the C what we have here is typhlozolar part. Okay, where typhlozoal is present, no, that part is called as typhlozolar part. The C marked option is here, which one? Typhlozolar part. And further, next we have D. All right, the D part here is lymph gland. All right, lymph gland, dear students. Now when we are talking about the lymph gland, let me tell you, so it helps in production of so many cells which are playing an important role in providing resistance against so many microbes, diseases for the earthworm. All right, so immunity it helps in. Fine, dear students. Then we have E. All right, in the given picture if you see E, it is present just below the stomach and it is actually the pre-typhlozoal part. Before the typhlozoal, all right, of the intestine, when we consider before the typhlozoal, the part which is present is called as pre-typhlozoal part. Just below the stomach, and before typhlozoal which is present is called as typhlozoal part, right? So among the given options, you know the correct matching is for 4. Please go for option 4. Dear students, the next 25th question we have is, in Periplaneta americana, the wings extends beyond the tip of the abdomen in males, females, both males and females, none of the above. So we need to know firstly that Periplaneta americana is the scientific name of cockroach. Right? Fine. And the body of cockroach is divided into head, thorax, all right, and abdomen. In the given question it is asked that the wings extend beyond the tip of abdomen. They are asking whether it is in males or females or in both. They are asking, okay, or whether it is absent in both. All right, so let us know first the structure here. When you see the structure of your cockroach, see the body is divided into what here? All right, the head, then we have the abdomen, correct, from which rises the body parts. All right, see it is divided into many segments, right? Then these are tentacles. Okay, this is compound eye. Okay, any compound eye, tentacles, all these are present, right, dear student? Fine. See, there are wings here like this. Okay, so when you consider these wings, right, So this just a rough structure, okay, which I have represented. All right, so fine. So when we consider these wings, all right, see these wings are present in the generally they just extend beyond the abdominal region. Okay, this is the abdomen, this is the head, and the middle part is the thorax. All right, middle part is the thorax. All right, head, thorax, and the abdomen are the three regions. All right, so now just the wings extend beyond the abdomen only in case of generally males. All right, so among the four given options, you have to go for the first option itself, that is male. Dear students, the next question we have here is, the entire body is covered by hard chitinous exoskeleton. In each segment, exoskeleton has hardened plates called, we need to write which are those hardened plates. In the A, fill up, and in the B, dorsally the sclerite, that is what we call the A as generally as sclerite, okay, which is the dorsal, and C, which is that ventral part of the sclerite, we should write, and how they are joined, that B and C, dorsally and ventrally, the structures which are present, how they are joined to form, all right, we should write in D. What membrane helps in joining that, we should write in D, dear students. Okay, let me explain this, okay, clearly. See, dear students, when we consider the cockroach or Peniplanata americana, all right, already I have told that they are made up of hard exoskeletal structures many a times. Okay, hard exoskeleton they are made up of. All right, which is made up of chitin. So we use a word called chitinous because it is made up of a tough we have a structure called chitin, so with which it is made up of, so hence it is called chitinous. All right, dear students, now let me tell you that the cockroach is covered in each segment, or every segment we can find a hardened structure. They have given there here as hardened chitinous exoskeleton, right, and hardened plates. We need to identify first which are the hardened plates. The hardened plates in each segment can be present. They are called as sclerites. So the A should be sclerites, dear students, and these sclerites are different in ventral and dorsal position. So okay, first they have given as dorsal, that is B. We have to identify the dorsal. What do we call as the dorsal? It is called as tergites. All right, the dorsal part of the sclerites is called tergites, and the ventral part of the hardened plate sclerites is called as the sternites. All right, now further, dear students, these tergites and sternites are joined together by articular membrane. They are joined by articular membrane. All right, that actually is called as arthrodial membrane. Anyway, they have given as articular membrane. I hope you understood this, right? So let me repeat. In each and every segment of exoskeleton of earthworm, we can find the hardened plates called as sclerites. Okay, that it should be mentioned in A. Dorsally which are present are called tergites, and ventrally which are present are called sternites. Okay, and tergites and sternites are joined together by articular membrane. So among the given options, the correct answer is 2, dear students. Next question we have, recognize the figure and find out the correct matching. The given picture here is of reproductive system of earthworm, and let me explain you this. We need to identify what is A, B, C and D here, which is the labelings. Anyway, we know that earthworm is hermaphrodite. All right, it is hermaphrodite. So what do we mean by this? That means that earthworm possesses both, all right, male and female sex organs. All right, that is the first point. That means we can find here in the given structure both male and female structures. So now we need to identify what is A, B and C as well as the D. So let us now understand that. See, in the A which is given is accessory gland. All right, A which is given is what? Accessory gland, which helps in rather binding of the worms during copulation, I have already told you, okay. And B which is given is prostate gland, alright. So this is also part of the reproductive system of earthworm, so they have many secretions, okay, during reproduction. Then thirdly, the C which is given is common, alright, prostatic as well as spermatic duct. That means the prostate gland and the spermatic, alright, sperms will generally deposit here, okay. It's a common duct, okay, spermatic duct it is, right. So then students, the fourth, that is D, what it is marked here as, vasa differentia. Vasa differentia is actually the part of male reproductive structure. So now A is accessory gland, B is prostate gland, C is common prostatic and spermatic duct, D is vasa differentia. Among the given options, please go for option 2. That is your right answer. Dear students, the next question we have here is, head of cockroach is formed by the fusion of, okay, they have given 6 segments and in triangular in shape, 10 segments and trigonal in shape, 11 segments and rectangular in shape, and 3 segments and tetragonal in shape. We have to identify how many segments the head is formed of, okay, and what shape it is, alright. Now let me tell you, dear students, firstly, the head of the cockroach, is triangular in shape, alright. See, the head of the cockroach is triangular in shape, first point, okay, this is the shape, alright. And this is formed by the fusion of 6 segments. How many segments are present here? 6 segments, fused to form the head of the cockroach, alright, dear students. And the head of the cockroach is having great mobility. Please understand this. When I say great mobility, that means, alright, in all directions, almost in all directions, it can rotate its head, alright, because the neck is also highly flexible, right, dear students. So this is very important, alright. Let me repeat. The head is triangular in shape, made up of fusion of 6 segments, alright, and the head has great mobility which can rotate all directions because of the flexible neck, alright. And head is also formed of hardened plates called sclerites. So these are some points you can remember about the head, right. So fine. So in the given options, you can go for option 1. So that is 6 segments and triangular in shape. That is your right answer, dear students. Next question we have is, the head shows great mobility in all directions due to, alright, mobility here they are talking about, and they have given 4 options. Flexible head capsule which also bears compound eyes, flexible neck which is an extension of prothorax, flexible neck which is an extension of mesothorax, flexible neck which is an extension of metathorax, alright. So now first of all, I have already discussed a few points in the previous question as well. Anyway, let me explain. The head has high mobility or great mobility. Why we say, what do you mean by this mobility? That means, alright, it can rather move in all directions, alright. So it is highly flexible, and this flexibility of the head is due to actually the neck, alright. This is one point. And the neck is a part of the thorax. See, thorax can be divided into 3. First one is what we call the first part as prothorax, then the second part is called as mesothorax, alright. Then the third part is called as the metathorax, alright. Among these 3, dear students, the neck starts from the prothorax, the part of the prothorax, alright. Fine, it's an extension of prothorax. From the neck, from the prothorax, the neck is getting extended, alright. So you look for the option which is the right one here. See, the second option, when you see, it has flexible neck, alright, with an extension of prothorax. So that is the given option here. Among the given options, the second one is the right answer. Dear students, the next question we have is, The mouth parts of cockroach are, four options have been given: piercing and sucking type, biting and cutting type, chewing and biting type, siphoning and sponging type. Now when you look at this question, that means what type of the mouth part helps in whether they are helping in the what type of digestion in the mouth part is occurring, we need to identify. Firstly, piercing. See, piercing generally they don't have any piercing structures here, all right. And sucking type, no, all right. Sucking type is also not there. For example, sucking type can be seen in leech, all right, and many like fishes, but not here. Second option what they have given is biting and cutting type. They can bite the food, all right. They can be helping the mouth part helps in biting but not cutting, all right. So second option is not the one, all right. Then let us see for the third option, chewing, all right. Yes, they help in chewing and also biting, as I said before, all right. The mouth parts help in chewing and biting. So probably the third option is the correct one, all right. Anyway, fourth one they have given as what? Siphoning, all right. This is what is the meaning is, in certain molluscans we can find, all right, the structures called siphons, all right. These siphons help in, all right, feeding. In case of mollusks, along with feeding, they also help in reproduction, respiration and also locomotion, dear students, all right. Remember that. So that can be seen in mollusk, so there is no question of siphoning here. And they have sponging here. One more option what they have given is sponging. So sponging can be seen in case of poriferans, dear students. So here we don't find, only in the poriferans, pore bearing organisms we can find the sponging type of feeding, all right. Anyway, among the given options, as I said you, the third one is the correct answer. So today's session ends here. Thank you very much.